Hello, and welcome to Anime Dumpster Dive, where we go in-depth on an anime that's been considered trash by pretty much anybody. I am your basophil and host, Jake H. I am joined by my co-host and acineophil, Anthony.
I don't know what that is.
I'll go into
Why
that
can
later.
there be a platelet?
Not anymore, that's two in a row. And
Oh.
we are joined by a special guest and mast cell, Garrison.
I like the fat joke, Jake, but hello, I'm Garrison.
No, I didn't mean it that way.
Why did you do that? Why did you do that? After you said it, I was like, oh my god.
It was the first cell I reckoned. I should have gone B cell for that to be less.
To clarify, the fat cell has nothing to do with fat.
It doesn't.
But, you know, I hit below the belt.
I'm so sorry. That's why I said it, because I was just thinking of the cells at work interpretation of the mast cell, and I was like, that's Garrison, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
A
Yeah,
girl
masts don't have anything to do with fat cells.
I would have settled with T cell or white cell. You know,
I
but
didn't use
it's fine.
T cell last time. I should have used killer T cell.
Super T cell. Yeah, yeah.
So our buddy Garrison here is responsible for our thumbnail, and he's a friend of the channel. Say hi, Garrison.
Hi, Garrison.
Of course.
All right. Well, it's been a good stream, Jake. I hope you have a good night.
All right, we peaked. That's it. That's the top. No, all right, so Garrison, since it's first time on the show, how about you tell us some of your history with anime?
I gotta say, I'm just so happy to be here tonight. And my history with anime, I've grown up with Dragon Ball Z. I'm sure that's the basis of most people's anime experience and stuff like that, and developed into more, different kinds of genres of anime. And I've just been following that path, really. I mean, I'll watch anything. So,
Okay, well you're on the perfect podcast then, if you're willing to watch anything.
Amen to that.
So how about you tell us what your favorite anime is?
ooh, currently or of all time?
Let's go currently.
Currently, My Hero Academia is probably very popular right now with everyone. A Restaurant from Another World.
Really?
That's actually one of my favorites. I love the art style, love the music. It's very calm. Very nice little getaway anime that's just like my little hidden gem.
Okay. And what would you say is the worst anime you've seen?
Oh, man. I gotta say Handshakers by far.
Garrison wasn't even here for that podcast. He watched
Handshakers,
Handshakers
hands down.
willingly.
Who's the fool, huh?
I'm...
Us or you, huh?
That's just... For the people at home, I hope you never watch it.
It was a good summary. I have nothing else to add.
Yeah, it's a show.
I mean,
That's it.
if that anime was made into an anime, I feel like I should make an anime. Because anything's possible if that show's an anime.
Very true. Just an awkward show, weird concepts and everything.
Absolutely.
So this is actually a special podcast. Not only special because we have Garrison on, but special as we're calling this podcast podcast 13.5. We realized that we had a convention to go to, not because we were guests, but because we're nerds. We had a convention to go to, and I had other obligations, so the podcast had to keep getting pushed back. So we realized that we had we're going to have about 4 episodes of Cells at Work, as well as the 12 episodes of Citrus. That being 16 episodes total is a little heavy for our watch load. And so we decided that we'd talk about 2 episodes of Cells at Work for this little podcast, and then we'd go into Citrus and the next 2 episodes of Cells at Work in our next podcast. And luckily for us, DJ, who has had prior obligations as well, won't be able to make this little halfway podcast as well as the next podcast, but we have Garrison to cover for him. And we are both extremely very thankful for him.
Absolutely.
And I'm honored being here.
Absolutely, Garrison. I can't thank you enough.
I also realized that just talking about 2 episodes of Cells at Work would be pretty short, considering that when we talked about 3 episodes of Cells at Work, it was still pretty short. So I'd like to bring up a topic that we don't really go into so much here. So it's kind of like a free topic podcast kind of day. And we normally talk about bad anime and what makes an anime bad. So the topic I'd like to bring up to you guys here is, what for you makes an anime good?
We're going to start that now.
We just start shooting off.
Yeah, that was what I was hoping. Hoping that'd be like... Oh.
I thought we were going to do Cells at Work first.
Oh, well,
okay.
I figured we'd finish off with Cells at Work. Kind of gets back
Let's do it.
Back into our format.
Okay. I'll start. I think for me, what makes a good anime, and I can kind of use what's going on right now with My Hero Academia, it's just the involvement of characters. Honestly, they have such great character development. They have all of these ideas and different quirks and abilities that you can tell are absolutely thought out and storyboarded throughout the entire show. I love every single character. I love every single arc that they've gone through. They're just like with most TV shows. I mean, anime suffer the same problem where they go through this kind of lull. There's always a lull moment. But I'd say that good animes have an ability to just move forward with that. And personally, I think that it has to come down to the characters. It's how involved, or how much do you, and I know you guys like to give me shit for this, but how much do you care about the specific characters and their growth and their development? Honestly, that's the most interesting part, I think, for me. Anyways, that's what makes a great anime. And I'd say that My Hero Academia does it. I'd say that one of my personal favorites right now that I'm currently making my way through is Maiden Abyss. And I think that 100% in tune with like the visuals. Not only does that show just is absolutely beautiful, but it's the characters. The characters absolutely make that show. That's what makes a show great for me.
Okay, Garrison?
Yeah, I completely agree with Anthony. I mean, a good story, good character development, because you want to sympathize with the character. For example, another one of my gems is an anime called Gungrave. It appeared a long time ago on Adult Swim and G4 TV, and the show, it had great character development. Brothers who, are just trying to make their way and make a living for themselves in the slums of a city. And I can sympathize with that because I grew up poor. I want what's best for life and love, and this character falls in love with someone, and it's just like, it's what everyone wants, and you hope that he gets that in the end, but tragedy strikes, and all you can hope for is just for the character to come out on top. You want the underdog to come out on top, and you want a good story and a good twist, because you never know what's going to happen. And I mean, hopefully I'm not ruining the anime for anyone. I hope you watch it and you enjoy it, but there's a twist, and you don't see it coming. I never saw it coming. But, good story, good character development. Art. Art is also important to me. I mean, I love when a piece just looks beautiful, like a good movie. What was the movie that we went to go watch, Jake?
Your Name.
Your Name. Incredible detail. And Coco, for example, took so many animators and so much time.
Coco, the anime
to develop. No. I'm just saying, it's just like, people take time on this kind of things, and it shows, and it's appreciated by me at least.
Okay. So seems like with both of you, it's definitely compelling characters, as well as a story that that at least evolves with those characters, and I'd have to say I agree as well. An anime that I bring up almost constantly that I really loved and just got me absorbed into the franchise itself was Fate Zero. and Fate Zero from like start to finish, like pretty much the entire cast isn't the same at the end. Like where they are at the beginning, they are not where at the end of the 2-season anime, and I love it. I love the concept. That's another way to get me into an anime, is have a very interesting concept. And I feel like with the concept of the Fate series, Fate Zero is like the only one that really holds that one true. Keeps true to the concept, which is funny because it was made as a prequel after Fate Stay Night. Like Fate Stay Night got released and then Fate Zero was made for a prequel, and I feel like Fate Zero is more honest to the world that it sets up compared to the other Fate type series. But that anime alone got me so hooked into this franchise, and I don't think I'm ever gonna get my way out.
In a good way.
In a good way, yeah. Like, I mean, I play the freaking mobile game, so yeah. So it's like that's what I really like, is interesting concepts, interesting characters, and a evolving story.
Absolutely. I think that we have watched our fair share of crap to really help us identify, and I mean in retrospect too, identify what I love so much about the anime that I was watching before this. I mean, Jake, this is for you. How involved did I get in Soul Eater?
Very. You really loved that series. Like, you really got obsessed with it, pretty much, to the point where I think you were actually considering a Soul Eater tattoo.
Yeah, yep, I was. I was going that far. I was going, I mean, like, I would spend, this is going to sound really bad, but I would spend more time than I care to admit going over my own fan fiction.
I was like, say fan fiction, you bitch. Fucking say it.
You know, and in retrospect, I mean, did I identify the good points of that anime? Maybe. I'd say that this has definitely given me the appreciation of what makes an anime good.
Yeah, watching you watch a lot of every now and then you watch a bad show and you kind of realize that you learn to appreciate the good shows, where you're like, okay, well, this show was good because of this. And like, I think that's why Maiden Abyss hit me so hard, is that like Maiden Abyss was like the first new anime I watched since we started the podcast, and it has hit me it has resonated with me so much. Like, I just love that show. Instantly went, is there a season 2? Yeah, there's a season 2 coming out. I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Wish it wasn't on Amazon, but cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can sympathize with that.
I'm trying to figure out what else to say, because like I thought we'd go more in depth than that, but it's like, oh, we all basically have the same exact opinion.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, it's basically the same for everyone. I mean, you want a good story, you want good characters, you want it to look beautiful. I mean, you want twists, you want excitement. I mean, that's pretty much the essence of any good show, video game, book.
Well, I mean, like, I'd make the argument that there's certain medias, like certain form of media, where you watch for a different like reason. Like, granted, like I say that, but I'm the kind of guy who likes watching like Steven Universe or Adventure Time, even though those are cartoons. Where I still really like those in-depth stories, the evolving, in-depth characters, evolving stories, all that stuff. But I know there are some people, I guess an example, and not to speak fully for him, but DJ here, a regular on the podcast, has mentioned that he actually doesn't like many anime that take themselves seriously. Like, where he prefers the more jokey type anime to the more serious tone or story structured anime. Like, just an example is he has said that Magical Girl Ore, which was our anime of the season last season, was his favorite anime that we've watched on the podcast, period. And like, that is surpassing, which for me is Madoka Magica, which is an amazing story from start to finish.
And I can agree with that. I mean, to some point, it's the same thing why you don't always watch action movies. You know, you're just going to sit there and watch one genre over and over and over again. I can definitely appreciate throwing in some like fun anime, like Baka and Test.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is such a fun show. It was so cleverly written. It's hilarious. Throw it into your regular routine, you know, at this point. But like, I get what he's saying.
Yeah, I get what he's saying as well. I mean, it's nice to get like that in there. So I guess going on to that, because comedy anime can be just as good as a serious tone anime, but they don't really follow those things that we talked about with those characters that those in-depth characters, the evolving story. So why are those good? Like, why do you consider those good as well, like, or on the same level as those story-based anime?
Well, like a Restaurant from Another World to me, it's like a good break anime from like my usual action fighty type anime, like Soul Eater, Naruto, you know, Attack on Titan. It's a little getaway, and since I do like to cook and I love to eat, I just, you know, it appeals to me.
Mm-hmm.
It appeals to that person.
Yeah. Like go ahead, Anthony.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. For sticking on the topic of food, Gerr, one that I personally love, and I consider it just as good as any other like really good anime I've watched, is Shokugeki no Souma Food Wars. And I think Food Wars is an amazing show, and I highly recommend that. Like, I'd say currently, like with currently airing shows, I'd say Food Wars and My Hero constantly fight for my favorite currently airing. Like, I get obsessed with either one that I start watching. Like My Hero is going on right now while Food Wars just finished up their current season. So I'm sitting here like, yeah, I'll talk all day about My Hero, but I could have talked all day about Food Wars just like last season.
Yeah, I loved Food Wars. It's so good.
They're night and day. They're not similar in any aspect. And so, like, but I consider them to be just as equally good, but they don't really have a lot of those similar things.
The thing I do love about Food Wars is that they do try and infuse some of that action type, because you'll get the scenes when they're finally doing a Shokugeki, and you'll see them, you know, holding a sword that he's perfected this art, and they're describing it in a way that it's like a battle.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's beautiful.
I guess what it gets out of that is that interesting concept I brought earlier, where it's like really not a concept I'm used to with anime. So with Shokugeki, like, it's this battle food like anime, and it's just so fun and entertaining to watch.
Oh my god, and I think that there's a few standard pillars of interest that people get wrapped into. You know, things like suspense and drama and love. I mean, those are all main pillars that make a great story. I mean, they just add to it.
I mean, you know how I feel about ReZero. Go Team Rem.
Who?
Okay, all right.
You got to make that joke every time.
Oh, that's 100% true. So, I mean, we've talked about our favorite anime quite a bit. You know, it always comes up. On one hand, though, what is an anime that you feel didn't live up to the hype? Doesn't have to be a bad anime. It's just, I mean, what was an anime that kind of everybody hypes up that you just didn't get into?
Like, are you saying, like, I dropped it because everyone was hyped up? Like, I mean, like, I dropped it after watching it, or I finished it, but I still just don't get the praise?
That.
Okay. Let me think. Because I feel like, fucking A, he's not here to defend it. Yuri on Ice. I like it. I like it just as much as the next guy. I think it's a good sports anime. I think there's certain parts of it that are really neat, and it's a fun watch. But do I think it was like anime of the year? No. Do I think the animation is spectacular? Absolutely not. There's parts of that animation where the characters have like no head. Um, do I think it's the best anime I've ever watched? Far from it. I think it's a great sports anime. I think I'll put it there. Have I watched a better sports anime? I think I currently am. With Hobeto. I think Hobeto's better than Yuri on Ice. But yeah, I don't think Yuri on Ice is as good as everyone claims it to be. DJ says that it follows a perfect story structure. I think DJ forgets that there's this one, like, for Yuri to get into the Grand Prix final. I almost said it in Victor's accent. That's how come it was different. For him to get into the Grand Prix final, he has to go through this mini tournament. DJ can't name that character. DJ can't name the character that he meets in there. Like, there's this just random tournament where it's like, this is Yuri getting back into it, and it's such a lull. When DJ goes, oh, it's never a lull, it's constantly good. I'm sitting here, I'm going, I don't think he remembers that part, because that part almost got me to drop the show. Like, it's one episode long, but man, was that episode pointless. It was like Yuri meets a boy who that boy is like his Yuri. Like, he's the victor to this boy's Yuri. But it happens way too early in the show. Like, it happens like in like the 4th episode, and it's like, okay, but Yuri up till this point really has done nothing to impress me. So I just didn't get it. So yeah, Yuri on Ice for me. I don't really see the amazingness of it.
Yeah. For me, it would have to be Godzilla, Netflix original. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it yet. It's quite long. It was hyped up to me, saying that this is the best thing that they have seen. And, 10 minutes in, I'm starting to fall asleep. I don't see the hype. And I mean, it grabbed me the first 5 minutes. Something's happening, and I don't want to ruin anything for anyone, but something happens, and I just kind of lost interest. And I heard so many good things about this. And I'm a fan of the anime Netflix originals, but this one it didn't grab my attention like the other ones do. Like Seven Deadly Sins, I absolutely love that one. It's an expanding world with great characters and fantastic story, in my opinion. A story that I've never seen or heard of. But with Godzilla, it's a new story, but it just wasn't grabbing enough for me. And sadly, I haven't finished it yet. I fell asleep through it. So maybe I'll have to give it a go again and see if I can hop on that hype train.
It's only a movie, right?
There's going to be another episode/movie coming out.
Oh, it's like three. Isn't it like 3 really long episodes or whatever? Or something?
Yes,
miniseries.
They're super long episodes.
Well, they're almost like a trilogy of movies, from what I understand. But they're not movies. They're like they're like too long to be an episode, but too short to be a movie type deal.
Yeah, and it was hyped up for me, saying, this person told me that it's the best thing they've seen. Maybe this person grew up with Godzilla and just absolutely loves everything about it. And it got hyped up to me, and yeah, Godzilla's cool. I like him. But it's just, I'd rather watch Shokugeki Food Wars or anything, really.
All right, Anthony, how about you?
I'd say you guys are going to crucify me, but I have tried multiple times
I fucking know what show you're talking about.
to watch Attack on Titan.
You're a bitch.
and it's I knew that you guys were going to say this. I'd say that most of our group, most of our closest friends group, is really into Attack on Titan. And it's not that it's a bad show. I 100% am not saying that at all. It's just my own personal inability to get into it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the art style. I don't know. There's nothing bad about it.
I personally think I get it. I mean, I just went off saying that I don't about my thing on Yuri on Ice. But I feel like every time I've watched it with you, you never get to the part where the story like kicks in.
Yeah.
You always get to like the part like of episode 4, and like with this part of episode 4 or like episode 5 or whatever, where people freak out. You went, oh, I didn't really like that guy. I'm like, you son of a bitch, pay attention.
And maybe that's what it is. Maybe I haven't watched enough. You know, if I've learned anything on this podcast, it's that I shouldn't judge a book by its cover. And I really need to invest myself.
I don't know. If I think I've learned anything from this podcast is people hate shit for a reason.
Well, some unwarranted.
Yeah, there are some unwarranted old big hate, but
like my girlfriend is a show bitch.
You know, there's a question for Garrison, and I guess open-ended. Maybe it's an anime that we haven't watched on the podcast. But what's an anime that you've watched that you enjoy, but just isn't really that popular?
Gungrave. They made a video game. It was popular at some point, but whenever I talk to people about that anime, they've never heard of it. It's
just doesn't get that widespread popularity.
No, and to me, it was fantastic. It's everything that I wanted. I watched it when I was growing up in high school, and I fell in love with the music, and I listened to the songs in the original soundtrack just because it was fascinating for me. What's another one that I'm trying to think of? Another one that's wasn't super popular that people just didn't like. I can't. None come to mind.
Sword Art Online.
I feel like that was very popular with people.
No, I mean, Garrett, it's popular with people to hate.
Popular to hate.
Yeah, so I'm curious, like, because I feel like you have some genuine like in it, right? Like you have some, like you.
I like Sword Art Online. Yeah, I bought the first 3 books.
Yeah, Gerr, look it up on our anime. Type in Sword Art Online. Like the videos are Sword Art Online is garbage, and here's why.
You just told Gerr that Santa Claus isn't real. That's what just happened.
Wait a minute. People don't like Sword Art Online.
I'm genuinely heartbroken right now. This is devastating.
Yeah, a big anime tuber, Mother's Basement, is like the fucking ringleader of like I hate this fucking show.
Oh my gosh!
All right, well, I'll see him in a couple of years.
Kirsten's like, I'm gonna fucking beat that guy up. I'm sorry, Gary. I didn't know that you didn't know that Sword Art Online wasn't very popular.
It's actually a shocker. Maybe it's just our group of friends that like it. I mean, who knows?
I mean, I don't think it's great, but I mean, I love that first arc. I love the Gun Gale arcs. I don't think it deserves the amount of hate that people dish on it. Like it is. For example, to segue to mine, people were calling Darling in the Franxx the new Sword Art Online.
Oh, no,
yes.
That's a big understatement.
Saying that no, doing the hate, Garrett, not people liking it.
No,
people were saying.
Okay,
I keep telling you, Garrett, Sword Art Online's not popular. People hate that.
My brain is working that everything that I like, automatically everyone loves.
No, I feel like I said people were saying like Darling in the Franxx is so bad, it's the new Sword Art Online. And I'm like, okay. And I think it was really for the week of the finale. I think I did a whole video on it. I think that people just didn't like the way it ended. And so for like the week after it came out, people were posting videos, people were posting discussions on our anime saying like, Darling in the Franxx is the perfect example of an anime that is just utter fucking trash. Kind of like Sword Art Online. But that's just what people would post. And so it's like, but ever since then, you really don't get it. The only thing that really shows up from Darling in the Franxx now are like fan arts of 02.
Lots of cosplay.
A lot of cosplay of 02.
Yeah.
Not enough Ichigo. Needs to be more cosplays of Ichigo.
Yeah, I've seen maybe 2 of Ichigo, but yeah. Instagram is just full of cosplays of 02.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I feel like that one kind of works for both. Like, Anthony's question and this question I just posed. I feel like the hype for it... I was hyped for a different reason. I was hyped because I thought the show looked really cool. But I think the hype for it really didn't grasp me for it. Like I said, I didn't follow the hype, and I didn't follow the hype to hate it. I kind of just was neutral to the show, except at one point. Like, there's like one arc where I was really, really excited for every next episode. But as that show progressed, I still watched it, and I still enjoyed every episode I watched. And at the end of it, I was like, well, I'm glad I went from point A to point B with it. And people were like, I fucking hate this show. This show made me kill my sister. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe not. That's a little intense, but not for me. No, I thought it was okay. Thought it was good. Solid 7 out of 10. But, so yeah, there you go. There's an anime I enjoyed that people did not like. So how about you, Anthony? Anything you got going on that way?
I don't know how well received Soul Eater was. I don't know. I mean, I know it was big in Japan.
From my understanding, it was really hyped. Like, if you said you liked Soul Eater not, then I'd say, oh, well, Anthony, yes, that is the anime that nobody liked. That's the anime that killed, like, the hopes of Soul Eater coming back. But, yeah, I think people like Soul Eater. Have you think that you're like, so far you're batting great? Like, you watched, you've liked every show that people have liked?
Yeah, that's where I am.
I don't know.
Garrison's like, that's my mindset. Garrison's like, I don't care what people said about Sword Art Online. It's good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I mean, for the most part, I follow the direction of my close friends, namely you, Jake. I mean, you'd always steer me in a bad direction.
Maybe Sword Art Online appeals more to me because I would love for that to happen, being stuck in a virtual world and being able to create your own character and go on an adventure and stuff like that. Be in a coma in real life. I mean, that sounds pretty cool, not having to work or anything.
Well, I think the thing that takes people out of Sword Art Online is the OP-ness of Kirito. Is basically just Kirito is like, I'm super strong and every girl wants my dick. Is basically like Kirito's character, and everyone hates that.
I feel like he's generally smart. He is a gamer, essentially, when it comes down to it. He knew where to go, essentially, when the beginning of the show started. He knew what to do. He's played a lot of those games, so
he also
kind of
beta
had the
tested
gist. Yeah. So, I mean, you can't blame him for being... Okay, the cockiness, yeah, but who isn't cocky? I mean, Vegeta's cocky. Goku's cocky. I mean, pretty much every protagonist will be cocky at some point.
Well, I think it's the the difference between let's go Kirito and Goku for there to play devil's advocate. Because again, I am not one of those people who just hates on Sword Art Online. But to play devil's advocate, for me, Goku, who's one of my favorite anime protagonists in general, is constantly has faults. His cockiness gets him into shit. His cockiness gets him beat up all the fucking time.
Yep.
And he puts the world in constant danger. And you see Goku lose fights, but become stronger throughout. The problem with Kirito, in my opinion, again, to play devil's advocate, is that he starts out strong and is strong all the way through until he loses a match where someone had to cheat, like, to beat him. And so it's that Kirito has no weaknesses until, like, he's beaten, and the weakness is that he isn't controlling the game.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about, like, superheroes, like Superman.
Yeah.
His only weakness is kryptonite. I mean, for me, Superman can do anything he wants, and he's very OP. So now I do understand that mindset that people have, now that you explained it to me.
Yeah, so, like, there's that. Because, again, Superman doesn't appeal to me, really. Like, because, again, it's the overpoweredness and the no risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony, you got anything to add on the? I don't think you've watched Sword Art Online.
Nope.
No, so Anthony's like I just know the memes.
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
But if I were to compare Sword Art Online with another one, I would pick Overlord over Sword Art Online.
I would pick Overlord over Sword Art Online as well. Overlord is good.
It's very good. And it follows the same concept of someone being in a virtual world and being a good gamer and knowing what to do and, taking advantage of that and exploring that world.
There's a anime, Gerr, that I think you might like. I dropped it halfway through, not because I wanted to, just because I didn't have time. I think we started the podcast around the time, so I had to drop a currently airing show to get our new currently airing show in. And it was Death March into Another World. And that one is about a programmer who essentially is on this 6-week long work week to finish up he's sleeping at work to finish up this game. And one day he just falls asleep at work and he wakes up inside the game that he's programming. And so he ends up this isn't a spoiler because it happens right away, but he talks about how giving the main character a scroll, 3 scrolls of fireball is super bad because he'll just break the game. And so he wakes up in the game and he's like, "What's in my inventory?" And he has 3 scrolls of fireball. And he uses it.
I've actually seen this first episode.
Yeah, he uses it to blow up. He uses it to blow up this whole demon army. So he goes from level 1 to level 999 in one movement. And so throughout the series, he's giving himself stats. He doesn't blow all of his stats in one go. He's like, wait a minute, I'll learn, if this game works as the game I designed it, as I meet people, I'll learn new skills, and then I can up my stats into those skills. And it's funny because there's parts where he'll meet a woman and he'll learn flirtation, and so he'll up all of his flirtation all the way, just so that way can nail all these skill checks. And it was pretty good. I really regret not finishing it.
I watched the first episode and I haven't watched the rest, and I really enjoyed that too. Konosuba, I mean, it's not a virtual reality game type of deal, but the story of going back in time to horses and carriages and magic and swords, and Konosuba was very comical for me. Mm-hmm. I liked it a lot.
Well, yeah, the guy dies because he thinks he saved somebody. It was hilarious.
To put it this way, I always say that Konosuba and ReZero are the most accurate getting transported to a different world anime. You're either going to have an okay time with some high moments and some really low moments, or you're just going to have the worst time ever. And so I'm all these anime where it's a person's like, I'm going to go there, I'm going to rule this world. No, you're going to go there and you're going to sleep in a barn for years because you're spending all your money trying to survive.
Yep.
All right, I think we've talked about some of our taste in anime for a while now. So let's go ahead and we'll move on to our currently airing anime, which is Cells at Work, or if you're a complete weeb, Hataraku Saibo. So, Anthony, you want to give us a breakdown of what Cells at Work is?
Absolutely. Cells at Work is a funny little blurb anime that follows the life of cells inside of the human body. It follows the red cells, white blood cells, and basically is like a cool little Discovery Channel anime. It's awesome. I love every single second of it.
Yeah. So before we go too in depth in it and go spoilery, let's we didn't do this last time, but we've had 5 episodes to really get to know these characters now. Well, 2 characters specifically. So without going into spoilers, what are you guys' thoughts on Red Blood Cell?
I think she's super cute. She's dim-witted. She can't find where she needs to go to save her life. I mean, Yeah, I mean, what else can I say? I mean, that's pretty much her.
Pretty much her. Yeah, that's a good description of her.
Yeah, she's cute. She's bubbly. She's the comedic relief.
She kind of does work as the comedic relief to the series.
Yep, she does.
I like that the comedic, as her being like the comedic relief, she also does have some character to her other than just being the lost funny girl. But like she does have this like strive, and I enjoy her. I enjoy her a lot. But I'd say a character I don't think I've just loved, like just so like I don't know why I like this character so much. I've been trying to put my finger on it, but instantly he is on my like top list of things I kind of want to dress up as now, and that's White Blood Cell.
Yep.
White Blood Cell is a badass.
White Blood Cell's a badass, and I just love him. I don't know if it's his deadpanness or the fact that he like he goes from a fucking 180 when Bacteria shows up, where he's like, "Hey, how's it going? I'm pretty cool white blood Bacteria." Yeah, but I've watching the show. I'm like, white blood cell cosplay could be pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
But is that whiteface if I do it?
Okay. I won't say anything.
You want to say anything? Good.
Something about this anime, them not having names, that's different for me. It's very different for me. I've never had an anime where there's a person you refer to them as the red cell or the white cell. You know, where's the attachment to that person?
Well, I think that is their names. There is. I don't go. I don't say that. Oh, white blood cell is a. I don't go. Oh, we have our or a white blood cell. I just call them white blood cell, and I just call red blood cell red blood cell.
Red blood cell.
I call another character who I just really like for some stupid fucking reason. I really like Red Blood Cell Senpai. Like she just shows up.
Yeah.
I call her that. I call the platelets or leader platelet. I don't know. Like
I think the T cells are super cool, but like it's kind of hard for me to like get a connection with these characters if I don't know their names. I don't know if I'm the only one here that agrees with that sentiment, but
I mean, I kind of have a hard time with that. I mean, I agree more so. I agree more so with the thought that, I mean, they're characters regardless of whether or not they have names. You know, that's first and foremost. I mean, like, I can connect with how completely naive Red Blood Cell is and how quick she is to panic. I love that about her. I think that is absolutely hilarious. And I can also kind of relate to White Blood Cell with how quick he is to, you know, pull out his knife and be so gung ho on you know, and killing everything. Like that's hilarious. I mean, it doesn't make them less of a character because they don't have, you know, a name. I'm trying to think of a popular character who is unnamed. I mean, like.
Well, I mean,
Left Shark.
Left Shark. No, I'm thinking of from anime, Gerr. Just I guess an example would be if Kaneki Ken from Tokyo Ghoul was referred to as Eye Patch the entire time. Would you not have felt as connected to him because his name was Eye Patch, or would that connection still be there? Because like for a while he is referred to just as Eye Patch. So would you not feel as connected to that character, or because he doesn't have an actual name?
It's difficult for me to say since I've known, you know, Kaneki. So I mean, I still like Kaneki.
But I mean, is it because his name is? That's what I'm getting at. Is that you like him because he has a name?
No, not because of that. Like, I don't know. The name thing is more of like a. I'm trying to think of the word. It's more of a personal touch, really. I don't know. maybe it's not that important. Maybe I overthought about it.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
curious because like if for you a character like having a name just makes that character more personal to you. I can get it, but I was just curious that if a character with a name no longer had that name, if that would affect how you felt about that character.
But I mean, there's also characters with names who I've just completely forgotten because their actions have not done anything memorable.
Well, I mean, on one hand, like, what about all of the... Oh, gosh, what the heck are they called? I mean, in the Fate series, they don't have names. They just have titles. I mean, that's Archer, right? I mean, it's the same thing.
That's true. Fate Stay Night, he is referred to as Archer pretty much the entire series.
Solely Archer, or like, Lancer. Like, Lancer's on screen for 2 seconds. Like, I love that guy.
And I also got to point out that, finding out the names in Fate Stay Night, that's also a big part of it.
Absolutely.
Because then they know
they know
this
their
person
legends.
specializes in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but...
So, I mean...
But again,
you could also do that argument.
but no, but I mean, at that point, I mean, I don't think, like, for example, there, Anthony saying that he loves Lancer from Fate Zero. I don't think Anthony was like, I hate this Lancer character. And then they went, his name is Diermood. And he went, I like this guy. I like this Diermood guy. I hated that Lancer guy, but Diermood, I like him.
I liked his character traits. I liked how ballsy he was. I liked the fact that he stood up to Archer. Like, he knew he was going to die. He knew he was going to die.
I thought he had a pretty good chance.
Fuck you!
I thought he had a pretty good chance.
But anyway, we're getting away from Cells at Work. We got distracted because Garrison told us he doesn't like characters with names.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I can see it now. I mean, it was just strange for me a little bit.
Okay, I could agree with that.
All right, so let's go ahead and we talked about episodes 1, 2, and 3 last podcast. So in this mini podcast, which is actually getting to be a longer podcast, just less content-filled podcast, we're going to talk about episodes 4 and 5 of Cells at Work. So if you don't want to be spoiled for episodes 4 and 5 of Cells at Work, go ahead and go to the time now. All right. So episode 4 is the food poisoning episode.
Yeah.
And we get introduced to what I called Anthony earlier, which is the eosinophil.
Oh, that's her name.
She is a white blood cell. She's a type of white blood cell, but she's not very good at fighting parasites. She's
like a special owl.
Yeah, she's not very good at fighting bacteria.
Yeah.
And everyone's a fucking dick, okay?
Seriously!
That girl is so cute.
Seriously, when did everybody get so judgmental?
I know, fucking regular cells are like, fucking, why is she a fucking white blood cell? With her fucking giant fork. And I'm like,
yeah.
Dicks? What have you guys done today?
I love the connection between white blood cell and pretty white blood cell.
Pink blood cell.
That's what I'm going to call her.
She was pink.
She was pink. She's So another thing I got to bring up about this episode, there's an anime trope, and the anime trope is going on dates to the aquarium. At the beginning of this episode, white blood cell and red blood cell are at the stomach, and it's kind of like they're dating at an aquarium. That's my headcanon. You can't. They went on a date. All right, white blood cell and red blood cell. They low key went on a date.
Yeah,
that's right. And they run into the B cell.
Oh
my gosh!
You can tell they like each other.
They do. They like each other. My cells are in there. I'm just like, hurry up, get together already, guys.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So that's where they meet eosinophil, who's getting her butt kicked by a type of bacteria. And this whole episode takes place in the stomach because it's food poisoning because this person was eating raw fish and got a parasite, and that's where we see the thing I called myself, basophil.
Yep.
Basophil is the guy who was saying the weird poetry.
Yeah.
So here's a fun fact. All right, you guys ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
In that episode, did we figure out what basophil did?
basophils. I mean, I know this from anatomy, but no, I don't think we did.
No, go ahead, Jake.
I was going to say, Anthony, what does basophil do?
So basophils are supposed to identify the allergen or parasite in this sense, and then they send all of their information to the mast cells. But he did none of that.
Anthony, you forgot to add maybe does that. Science doesn't know what a basophil really does.
Really?
No, that's why it's like that. That's how come we don't find out what it does.
Because he's so vague.
It probably does that, but they're not entirely sure type deal.
That's hilarious.
And so that's what he's so weird, is that he's so mysterious.
He's so vague. Yeah.
He's so vague. It's like, what does he do? We don't know.
What was his line right at the end? He's like... I can't even remember. It was hilarious.
So the person gets a parasite, and we know that basophil basically says, like, in a very cryptic way, that there's a parasite coming, and white blood cell, eosinophil, and like red blood cell kind of just go, what? And he goes, and he's like, darkness returns, or whatever, and he walks away. And you're like, what the fuck?
And he's standing in front of some platelets, and the platelets are so, like, taken aback. They have the white eyes, like...
They're just like, huh? Somebody pointed out on our anime, but every time there's a disaster in the show and there's platelets nearby, except for the scrape wound episode, the platelets always kind of grab on to, like, the nearest adult-looking cell, like children, and it's so cute.
Still the best part of the show.
So we find out Ciniophil's true purpose, and Garrison, what's Ciniophil's true purpose?
They kill parasites.
They kill parasites. Fucking
she murders parasites.
Fucking murks that parasite right away.
She's a badass that kills parasites. One shot, one kill.
Let's think about that right there for a second. Parasite's a multi-cell organism, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have a single cell in our body that fucking kills those things. That's terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
That's so weird.
I mean, I don't imagine it, like, that way.
I imagine it's worse, Anthony. I imagine they eat it.
Well, we've seen that, white cell actually does eat,
Does bite stuff.
Yeah.
That was a cool touch in the next episode. But I mean, think about it this way. It's like if, like, you stepped outside your house and there was this giant fucking amoeba and that amoeba ate you. That's how I imagine. Like, that it just kind of creeps me out that there's something in our body that can eat multi-celled organisms.
Which is cool.
Like, this show, like, every episode could be a fucking I will teach high school biology, and I will just show every episode of Cells at Work.
I was exactly thinking the same thing while I was watching this anime.
Yeah.
Like, this is the kind of stuff that I want to be watching in biology and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. It's... I feel like...
I mean, we saw Osmosis Jones in middle school, and I loved Osmosis Jones. This is the Osmosis Jones of anime.
Just putting it out there, Jake. You could cover multiple topics here. Yeah. You would, show Killing Bites for zoology and Cells at Work for biology.
You can show Spice and Wolf for medieval, like, currency or trade market. Yeah,
Shokugeki no Souma for cooking.
Anime school. Yeah. Let's do it, guys. Let's everyone drop what we're doing. We're gonna start a curriculum that's just pure anime.
As long as we can be as over as top.
I bet those students would learn so much.
Maybe.
Yeah. We'll keep certain anime out of certain classes. No school days in sex ed. All right, none of you are watching that.
Well, thank you. No,
Yuri on Ice. We're gonna have the perfect figure skating team. Perfect.
Yeah, but so the show's great for teaching.
Yeah.
So next episode is something that's near and dear to Garrison, because Garrison has at least one very severe allergy, if not a lot.
Quite a few.
So the next episode is called cedar, like cedar pollen, or like allergy, I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's the body reacting to cedar pollen hitting it, And I'll let Garrison go in depth on the stuff on what actually happens. But prior to that, when the cedar pollen first gets in, Garrison mentioned that when white blood cell kills one, him and red blood cell have no idea what it is. So white blood cell goes, "But I'll figure it out." After eating him, and he bites. And then it tells us that macrophages, white blood cells, and killer T cells can all do this. Can all bite stuff and then figure out what they are, which I thought was again pretty. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no.
Our body can access information. We also meet Anthony. I don't know. I feel
my
like
favorite. One of my favorite characters.
I was going to say Memory Cell is probably...
Oh, hell yes.
I was like... I watched this, I'm like, Anthony loves this character.
He was so over the top. I love him so much.
I love the part where he's looking in his notes, and he has to double check, and he looks that person in the eye, and he goes back and goes for his other notes.
I was going to say...
my favorite part was...
Go ahead, Anthony.
I was going to say, my favorite part is before he even grabs the notebook.
Yep. There's a legend.
It's
what
like,
legend?
There's a...
Yeah.
Exact same pose, has a notebook.
It is foretold by memory cells to memory cells. That's hilarious. That's what they do.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like, again, this show is just so clever with its knowledge.
It is.
So then, as soon as that happens, like this whole legend of basically an apocalypse, cedar pollen's gone everywhere. So they call in the B cell with his antibodies and his fucking super soaker, and he just starts shooting them down in the street. Super, like they don't stand a chance. And then, but he creates this like mist, and that causes the mast cell, also known as the fat cell, but the fun fact is has no relation to fat, as we mentioned earlier.
Nothing to do with fat.
Yeah. So she releases, what is it, histamine?
Histamine, yeah.
Yeah, and shit just starts going crazy. Garrison, what is going on in your body when you have all these allergies?
Basically, it comes down to allergies suck and cause mass mayhem in your body. It's just total destruction. And it's not like you're even really sick. It's just that they're there to ruin your life. They're just there to ruin your life.
It is. It's your body, like white blood cell says it at the end, is that, if we reacted any other way, this wouldn't have happened, but we all reacted the way we're supposed to react. So it was inevitable. And that's it. It's your immune system freaking the fuck out. Because it's like, are you sick?
This is a perfect description. So like when someone tells me, oh, allergies aren't shit, they're not bad at all. I mean, I will want to show them this episode.
You'd be like,
this is what happens inside my body
like, I am
when I get around a cat or when I go outside.
I am flooding from every orifice. I am missiles going off of my nose.
Yeah,
there's explosions
missiles going off of my nose. That's my favorite one. But I was happy that we got to see Drix
from Osmosis Jones.
And that, again, I love Red Cell to death. I love her. You hear her off in the background.
White blood cell!
She runs him up. And we get the...
I thought it was a translation error when I was first watching it, because I wasn't hearing her. I was just seeing white blood cell until I finally started hearing her. I'm like, oh. And then she rams them with it. She's like, this showed up.
A steroid.
A steroid, which is a medication.
Yep.
And man, did it fuck up.
Oh, yeah, it almost kills mast cell and B cell.
That's another interaction I really liked, was mast cell and B cell blaming each other, and B cell calling her fat cell, and she's like, what the fuck did you call me? Like, does B cell stand for...
bonehead?
She says bonehead. Like, it translates to bonehead because it wouldn't make sense, because she was saying baka, idiot. Which it would have been idiot. So, yeah, I was just like, you baka! Just like that.
Yeah. I know, it was so funny, too. Like, that whole scene. Like, they're running away, apologizing. And he's just like, I don't know what I did, but I'm so sorry. And then the regular cells are running away, too, going, we're sorry, Best Cell, we're sorry.
Yeah, everyone's apologizing because the steroid's destroying because what is it? It's leveling out the terrain, right? Because it reduces swelling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, because the swelling happened, so all the terrain got all elevated, so it's just destroying everything to level it out.
It's clearing up the place.
Yeah.
I like that when it powers down after its job, it has a little, like, thank you for using me note. like, please use me again.
What were the guys that were dressed as milkmen? What were they?
They were in charge of, like, the nasal cavity.
Oh.
They were in charge of, like, the fluid in your nose, and that's how come they overflow.
The steroid shows up, kicks open the door, and they're like, what the fuck is here?
They're like, who the fuck is this guy? Every episode of this show has me smiling and has me enjoying it and it has me learning something.
Oh yeah.
And like it's weird because I kind of want to go around, like, I feel like when people talk like about this stuff now, I can chime in with like a little, like, maybe not even 2 cents, but like a cent. Yeah. I can go in there and be like, someone says something about the fat cell. I'm like, hey, fun fact, did you know that the mast cell really has nothing to do with fat? All right, bye everybody. I didn't know that. I didn't know that in high school.
Like in line at Qdoba.
Now you also know how I feel when I go to your house, Jake.
I'm still going to tell you to suck it up, Gerr. My immune system knows not to do that. Your immune system should too.
It's just my body reacting that way, man.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about
it. It's a fun show.
It is. It's
like, first and foremost, I mean, like, the lack of DJ here he would say, it's not that good. It's fun, but it suffers from the same things that most animes suffer from. There's no plot. There's
Have we found out that this is the same person always getting sick?
Yeah.
Is this the same body?
It's the same body.
This person has the worst luck.
Well, that's, if you think about it, the past few episodes, kind of yes. But the first episode, the person sneezed once. But that was a whole ordeal for the cells.
Yeah.
But the person sneezed once. The second episode, the person fell down. Again, whole ordeal. Third episode was
Influenza.
So the person had the flu. That was the first real time that the person got sick.
Right.
Fourth episode didn't even throw up. Kind of just was upset tummy for a bit.
Just got nauseous. Yeah.
Yeah, got nauseous. And then the next episode was allergies. Mm-hmm. So again, Garrison, this
sounds like the worst week of my life.
I was gonna say, it just sounds
sounds
like a regular week to me. Like, I sneezed on Monday. Maybe not a week, because flus actually last quite a bit.
The type A influenza. I was like, did this person die? Did they stop him?
Yeah, so it's the same body.
I feel sorry for that person so much.
I feel like it's just an average kind of day. Yeah. Because even because from the food sickness, from the food poisoning, from flu to food poisoning, white blood cell even says how calm it's been. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I imagine there's some space. Like, even hypothetically, if this all took place immediately after another, still not your worst day. I mean, still not your... Like, you tripped, ow, okay. You sneezed, ugh. And then, like, 2 days later, you have the flu, and you're like, fuck, that wasn't just a sneeze.
Well, it's like, what is the... We talked about this last time, too. What is the average lifespan of a cell?
You have an obsession with this, and I'm not behind it.
It's like 21 days.
Okay, to plug another podcast channel, Nerd Blaze, who does a weekly episode review of every episode. Their first episode is dedicated to Jeff trying to figure out how old cells can get.
Well,
And
he's thinking the same way
I
I'm
know.
thinking.
When you brought that up last podcast, I went, motherfucker, Anthony too.
I'm afraid.
I
don't want it to ever end.
I believe white blood cells only have a lifespan of like 18 days.
Oh, gosh.
And red blood cells have a lifespan of like a week. Not a week. Of like 23 days or whatever.
Right. But mitosis meiosis, we all know about that. I have a theory that we're going to see it.
I was going to say we're going to talk about it next podcast because we've technically already watched it. We've already watched episode 6, but we're not going to talk about it yet. But yeah, episode 6 does bring up. Episode 6 also brings up more stuff I didn't know, and I love this show. I love this show so much.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so from the first 5 episodes, Garrison, what are your opinions on it? Like me and Anthony have both expressed last podcast and this one that we really like it. But how about you? What do you feel about the show?
I'm enjoying the show. It caught me with a really catchy hook with the intro. Mm-hmm. The art style, it's really nice. I like how all the red blood cells are like delivery people delivering oxygen through the body. I thought that was very clever. Yep. You know, white blood cells with their, combat knives destroying bacteria and anything, really. And the T cells, backing them up, and the spleen. She's like, what's her name?
Macrophage?
Macrophage. She's like this beautiful, like, intelligent person who, like, finds out information and sends it to, I don't know, he was a...
Halberty.
Yeah. It's just really clever. It's a really clever show.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you were saying the descriptions of everybody, I'm like, yeah, it's clever. And so, like, yeah, you're right when you said it's clever. So, yeah, there's a part I forgot to bring up. When the pollen first hits and it ruins the macrophage's, like, tea, mm-hmm. I wanted one of 2 reactions. I got one where they freaked out because they're all calm and collected, but they freaked out because their tea was getting ruined. I wanted that reaction, or I wanted their reaction to just be super stoic. When it crashed, just them going like, great. Because they kill shit too, but with like bigger, like cleavers and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always love learning, so, I mean, throwing that into an anime, is always a plus.
So we know that you're going to watch up to episode 7 with us, Gerr, because you're going to be on the next podcast. But will you continue watching after?
I think so. I definitely will. Yeah, it's a good when I get caught up with My Hero Academia, this is a show I'll probably watch, just like on the side.
Your side show.
My side show.
Ew, you nasty.
Garrison's got a main show, and then he's got a side show.
Wow.
Doesn't everyone?
Promoting that.
I feel like it's just this day of age where everyone has to have a side show.
I mean, I have a few.
Garrison?
I'm not the only one here.
Banaga show.
I'm afraid of commitment. I have to, free.
Sometimes I just want a different show in area shows, genres. All right, so I think we can. You guys want to bring up any other spoiler type thing about the show before we move on?
No.
Oh.
All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll wrap up spoilers now. All right, welcome to the end of the podcast. If you skipped the spoiler portion of Cells at Work, I just got to say, if you want a pretty easy biology class to follow, you should watch that show with us. So at this point in the show, I normally talk about what anime we're going to watch next, but I've been mentioning it constantly, and I already made a joke about it. So I guess I'm just going to ask a question right here, without spoiling any part of the show, or what the show's about at all, especially since Anthony hasn't watched it yet. Why is it called Citrus?
That was the question I was going to ask you. I mean...
Because you squeeze an orange for every little bit.
I feel like citrus is a very feminine thing.
Uh-huh.
Like, I've seen girls with citrus in their bathtubs, like when they do a bath bomb, and there's petals, and there's like a lemon or an orange slice floating in there. I feel like maybe it could be possibly because of that. I mean,
Anthony's making a face, but Anthony, I have seen some Instagram posts where the girls like feet are up and there's fucking like circular slices of oranges in the bathtub.
No.
So I don't get it.
No.
But Garrison's
That's
right.
not real.
That's a thing.
that's a thing. Yeah.
What?
I mean, it possibly do with womanhood. I
Haven't gone through that yet?
someday I hope so, so I can learn.
Having seen the picture of, what was it? It's a picture of like some young actress, and it's an orange that's like freshly cut and like untouched, like, and then it's a older actress, and it's like kind of like a destroyed orange, and then it's Hillary Clinton, and it's like an orange that's been just torn apart. Every time I think of citrus, I think of that series of pictures, and I'm like, that can't be it. That's not it.
Probably not.
So Anthony, why is it called Citrus? You have no idea what the show is. You think it's because you squeeze out every bit of an orange.
Just throwing that out there, an orange can be very masculine too. So
Garrison's like, I like to think of myself as a pretty masculine orange.
I think grapefruit would have, also very masculine.
Very masculine.
I mean, well, citrus doesn't necessarily
Could be lime.
just mean orange. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
means,
Which again, I've seen, bath bombs with anything citrus, limes, oranges,
Good for the skin, I guess.
grapefruit. Yeah.
It's because there's more underneath the outer layer. Oh my gosh, I just figured it out.
Anthony's like, I figured out citrus. It's like after that hard, disgusting layer is some sweet, juicy nectar.
Exactly. You said it that way, which is gross, but...
You worded it in a way I would never have worded it, but yes. That exactly, yes.
That's why.
Like, there's this thing in...
Womanhood?
Yes, it does involve womanhood, but in certain parts of like Hispanic, I wouldn't say culture, because it's kind of like a thing. There's a part of the woman you refer to as limon, which is, you guys know what limon is, right? Lime or lemon. And I don't want to really get too dirty, but there's Mexicans that will say, not necessarily Mexicans, Hispanics will say to a girl, quiero tu limón. And it's a very sexual-based comment. So, I mean, I'm wondering if maybe in Japan there's also like a culture that follows something like that?
Maybe. Like they tell a girl,
Well, now I'm
like,
curious.
something citrus, and they're just like, oh,
Yeah.
oh my.
Jake, end the podcast so he could tell me what this naughty thing is.
All right. All right. Garrison, where can they find you if you want them to find you?
I'll be back here next week, so you'll find me here.
I meant on like social media. But
Oh.
also, Garrison's like, my house.
Yeah.
No addresses. I can't take fan mail right now. Sorry. Overflowing with nothing but bills. So right now I can't give you an answer to that, but maybe next time.
Next
have
podcast,
an
Garrison's like,
Instagram?
I'll have social media then.
Yeah.
You'll have
Maybe
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm secluded. I'm Master Roshi on an island, living my life.
We'll just have to wait and see. How about Anthony? Where can they find us?
Absolutely. You can find us on our Twitter handles down below in the description. You can also subscribe to Anime Dumpster Dive to listen to our podcast.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we hope you have a great day. That's your guys' key to say bye.
Bye-bye!
See you later. Next time.
All right. That was smooth. All right.
That was real smooth.
There we go.